Hey y'all, Brianna Members here with She Edits LLC, graduate debt free with She Edits LLC, and I am so excited to kick off our second video of the Prepping for Scholarship Application series we're doing over the next few weeks. Today, I'm going to be delving into step number 1 in the preparation process, which is all about your preparatory templates. Here is a quick overview of what will be covered in this video. Intersections of identity list and why it's important, the outline of extracurriculars and what you learned, answering the 4 main scholarship questions, and filling out 2 letter of recommendation templates. I've got freebies and these templates and downloads for you below, so tune in to see how to put them into action. Here is the breakdown of all of them. The first template to make scholarship applications easy for yourself is an intersections of identity list. So that sounds like a big term. So I'm going to break down exactly what an intersections of identity list is. Let's take a step back first and define the word intersectionality. So intersectionality is how we humans are shaped by all of our different social influences, such as race, ethnicity, religion, age, income, education, occupation, immigration status, and so many more. The importance of having a list of your unique identities is that 1, you can use them as keywords for your scholarship searches, and 2, you can use these facts about you as points to expand on when writing your scholarship essays. So here it is an example of how to utilize this list and keywords from this list in your scholarship searches. Let me show you. So here is my intersections of identity list, and yours will look similar. So the instructions basically say to fill out and add any additional identities that are noteworthy to you, and then talk about the impact that each of these identities has had on you. So I began to fill out my intersection of identities list, and as you can see, I started off with things like my race and ethnicity, my education, my religion, and my geographic location. The great thing about this list is that you can start using these terms to mix and match them on Google with the word scholarship to find scholarship that match your unique identities and your criteria. So for instance, let me hop over to Google and I'm going to type in African American plus teacher because my degree was in education, as you could see on my intersections list, plus Indiana plus scholarship. And voila, you are going to see this result of the William A. Crawford Minority Teacher Scholarship. It tells me right here without even having to click on it that this commission offers scholarship for minority students. And it pulled that because I put African American in the search, planning to teach, and it pulled that because I said I wanted to be a teacher up here at an accredited school in Indiana. And so because I put the word Indiana up here, it pulled this result for me. So I'll talk a little bit more about this in a video in the future, but I wanted to show you how important this intersection of identities list is. You can add onto this list. So just start to brainstorm and think about things that make you you. So you can start with the identities that we put on here, but also continue to brainstorm and think about hobbies, think about anything that you're interested in, think about experiences that are unique to you, add them to this list, and then you can start to use these terms to search for scholarships that are going to be relevant to you. An example of how to use your intersectionality list for scholarship essay writing is by picking one of your unique identities and then thinking about an instance or a story from your life that ties into it, and then expanding on that. So for instance, I could expand on my position of being the oldest sibling and the oldest cousin of a ton of cousins and how that shaped me to want to work with kids as a teacher. I could think about specific stories from me babysitting them or teaching them or leading them and caring for them, and then expound on why that made me want to become a teacher. So creating a list of all of your identities reduces the mental and emotional energy you have to utilize for your scholarship research and your scholarship essay writing. So now, every time you dedicate an hour or 2 for researching or writing scholarship essays, you can refer to your list to help you out. Click the link below to grab your full intersection of identities list. Like we talked about last week, the second template for scholarship applications that will make your life a breeze is an outline with your extracurriculars. This includes academic extracurriculars like societies and clubs, community service, and any jobs you have held. Along with this bulleted outline, next to each extracurricular, you should write the professional lessons, skills, and abilities you obtained as a result of your experience in those positions. Having these pre-written will take the stress out of having to rack your brain thinking about how these experiences have shaped who you are when you're writing your essay. You will be able to adapt these pre-written responses to each scholarship essay you write. Here's an example of what an extracurricular outline looks like.
So here is an example of the extracurriculars outline template. The instructions say, below is a list of extracurriculars you may have or are currently participating in. This is not an exhaustive list, so feel free to add as many more sections as necessary. Bullet point all the extracurriculars you have participated in, and also include what you have learned during your experience, so that when it is time to write your scholarship essays, you already have a foundation to build upon. So in essence, this extracurriculars outline is going to lay out all of the things outside of school that you have participated in. So these can be honor societies, these can be extra courses that you've taken, these can be clubs, these can be community service activities you've performed in your church or through volunteer organizations or through external companies. And then you also want to include the relevant jobs and internships that you've had and talk about each of those things. So in 2 to 3 sentences for each extracurricular, make sure to talk about what professional knowledge, experiences, and skill sets you gained that are relevant in general. And then as you are applying for different scholarships, you can tweak the knowledge, experience, and skill sets that you've gained to make them relevant to the scholarship application.
You can find your extracurricular template below, so go ahead and grab it. For the third template, that'll make your scholarship application process a piece of cake. You will be answering the 4 most popular scholarship questions. The 4 most popular scholarship questions are: what are your career goals and future plans after college, and how will this scholarship help to achieve that? What kinds of adversity have you faced, and how have you overcome that? What forms of community service have you participated in, and what have you learned? And finally, what are some financial hardships or special circumstances you have had or you currently have, and how will receiving the scholarship assist you in reaching your goals? Doing a quick Google search on the most common scholarship essay questions is also helpful as well. When writing answers to these scholarship essay questions, your intersections of identity list and your extracurriculars outline comes in handy to write out your responses. Doing this pre-work before you sit down to actually research and apply for scholarships removes so much of the overwhelming stress that many of us feel when we need to begin preparing for a scholarship application. We have the templates for you with the 4 main essays, so check them out below. The 4th template to ensure a smooth sailing scholarship application process is for letters of recommendation. Actually, there are 2 kinds of templates you should have. 1, an email template for you to ask a professor, a supervisor, etc. for a letter of recommendation. And 2, an actual letter of recommendation template in case the recommender needs a guide to use. The email template should include the specific scholarship details you would like the recommender to write you a letter of recommendation for, and also include your most updated resume. Let me show you an example of a recommendation letter email template.
So this is the recommendation letter email template that you all are going to use when you are asking a recommender to write you a letter. So if you are at school, make sure to ask your teacher in person and alone, and then that way you can get the most genuine response. But if you're not at school, you can very easily send them an email using this following example. So on this document, just as a note, feel free to create a new page for each email for each email request, personalizing it to each recommender. So here's what the template looks like. So you're going to start with your professor's name or your supervisor's name or your community leader's name, whoever can speak well to you. I hope to find you well. I am, put your name, and I was in your class. Or if they know you, like if you're currently working for them, or if you are currently serving with them or volunteering with them, you don't have to put what class you're in and when you took that class. So just adjust it accordingly. I'm applying to scholarships this year and will be needing recommendation letters. I'm emailing you to see if you would be willing to write me a strong letter of recommendation. I would greatly appreciate it. And then talk about the impact that your professor, your supervisor, your teacher, your community leader has had on you. Talk more in detail about your college that you're going to, what your intended major is, and what future career goals and aspirations you have. So talk a little bit more about yourself, just so even if they haven't had those conversations with you one-on-one, they know a little bit more about you and they can more easily expand and write a letter of recommendation for you. And then make sure, as it says right here, to attach your resume and your transcripts, put the deadline for the applications. And I would also ask them to get the recommendation letter to you by a certain date, if possible. I wouldn't want them to turn in the letter of recommendation, the deadline of the scholarship, or on the deadline of the scholarship rather. So make sure to ask them if they can get the letter of recommendation to you a little bit before. And then we're just going to sum up the letter down here, ask them if they have any questions or if they need anything else from you, and then sign it. So that is the recommendation letter email template that you can use as you are asking a recommender for a letter.
The letter of recommendation template should be general, but when sent to a recommender, make sure to adapt it accordingly for each scholarship you apply for. Here is an example.
So here is the recommendation letter template freebie that you all can use and you can give to people you are asking for a letter of recommendation from. So they can use this template and easily edit it and adapt it to your specific scholarship that you're applying for. If you have a last minute recommendation letter that you need written, you can also use this as a quick template that they can fill in the blanks for and send to your scholarship organization or send back to you so that you can go through and send it to them. All right. So I really want you to pay attention to this. However, make sure that you look at the scholarship requirements and the verbiage that the scholarship application requires for letters of recommendation. And then you can tweak this template accordingly to make sure you have everything that the application requires before you submit it. Okay. So again, read the requirements very carefully before you send any letter of recommendations template. And then before you send it to your professors, make sure to send them the correct version. Okay. This is just one example of a recommendation letter template, but you can find many, many more online, but we wanted to give you this free one so you can use it for yourself. All right. So I'm going to walk through the template. So you're just going to put the date, the name of the scholarship, and then the name of the institution, the school, whoever is giving the scholarship, and then the city, state, and zip code that where the scholarship is coming from. So then, dear scholarship committee, it is with great pleasure that I strongly recommend your name here for the name of the scholarship. I have worked with your name in this capacity for this amount of time, and then you can put or this area is where they're going to put where they have seen growth in you. So then they're just going to go through the letter, filling in any blanks down here.
These two templates are valuable to cut down the time it takes you to prepare each scholarship application package. With so many scholarships to choose from and so little time to apply for them, automizing as many steps in the process will speed it up and make it less burdensome. Be sure to grab the two templates below. Hopefully these 5 templates will serve you well in the preparatory phase of your scholarship application process. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions and we'd be more than happy to help you. In our next video, we will be diving deep into catering your resume to scholarships and reviewing key points to keep in mind. So stay tuned for the next round of freebies paired with our next video.